Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, my people. What's up, people? How we doing today? How we doing today? How the hell we doing today? Oh, God, I love you guys. I'll tell you, I go through my day, and I'm always, anticipating this moment of the day when I get to hit the live stream button, the live stream of consciousness, as I like to call it, because that's what I am. My brain just kind of twiddles on its way along the river, just skipping rocks. It's like my brain, it's like skipping rocks. You throw a rock and it skips. That's like what my brain does. So I go through my day and I always look forward to, I get stuff together, I do what I got to do, and I know I'm coming on and do my little spiel here, as it were, to be with you, the beautiful people of the world, because I love you so much, and I'm just a man of the people, and here to give positive messages the best I can in a crazy, upside down, backwards, inside out kind of world. And once I hit the button and everything starts flowing, I feel pretty good. I can really just kind of hang out here and talk to you as if you're really there. I mean, as if, I know I'm looking at a camera right now. Of course you're there because you're watching this. But, it's almost like I went, oh, how you doing? Oh, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. I'm sorry if that's in today's world, that might be a little intrusive. No heavy petting is allowed here on the show. By the way, welcome. If you've never been here before, my name is Pete Palma, and this, of course, is Operation Status Quo, where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, of course, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. And, I don't know, first of all, let me stop, because I notice when I always try to watch back most of what I do just to make sure it comes across all right, as far as, I'm not really worried about what I say, because it's it is what it is as far as that goes. It's more of making sure, the camera looks all right or whatever. I wasn't picking my nose and didn't notice. I don't know, whatever I'm looking for. But what's funny when I watch back some of the stuff is that because I know me, right, it's easy for me. But, I'll be in the middle of a sentence, and it triggers like this whole line of thought that I wind up going into. And then I realize I never finished what I was saying before I went down, this whole other path. And what I was thinking is what triggered what I'm saying now, but I never really gave that context, which is funny. Because, for example, I was talking about the submersible Titan with the implosion incident, and I was talking about, how I found it to be so ironic in a way that, it was the Titanic and then the Titan, the names were so close. And the one thing I wanted to add to that was that, it's only by taking off the IC, so you have Titan and then you add the IC at the end, you get Titanic, right? So I guess it's like my brain, I'm thinking, so what is the significance of the letter I and the letter C? Like, do we do numerology on this? And, what letter is the I? What number letter is I? Like, ABC is 3, and then do I, and I say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. That's 9. 9 and 3 is 12, and 12 is 3. And maybe that gives the answer of what's going on and why this happened. You understand what I'm saying? You got to look at it this way. Number 3. What does that mean? Hey-o. I don't know if anybody ever saw out there, if you remember, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe. What was it called? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, right? Or is it the Galaxy? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And at the end of that movie, I know it was a book and everything, but they did the movie. And at the end of that movie, the dolphins are all leaving Earth. They're flying up into space. Well, anyway, they're flying up into space. They're leaving Earth. And, somebody says, what is the meaning of life? And they answer, they go, the meaning of life is 4. The number 4. And it's funny about it. Hold on, let me give a round of applause, because I just realized this as I'm saying it. 4. Hey-o. Four, of course, is the number of like foundation stability, what you're building, all that. If you're a life path four, for example, like if you follow anything with the numerology, you could take your birth date if you're not aware, and add up add up the month. So if you were born in January, so that's one. If you were born on January 2nd, you take January 1 plus the second, which is two more, that makes three. Then you add your year together. So just say it was 2000. I'm just looking for easy numbers. So that would be five because you add the two because the zeros are zeros. So you have one, two, and then another two. That gives you, did I say five? Right? I got what did I say? January 3rd, right? Two, and then two more. So that gives you five. That means if you were born on January 2nd of the year 2000, you have a life path number of five. See what I mean? So you can look into that kind of information yourself. It gives a lot of good info out there as to how you resonate possibly. So something else to look into. That's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. We're just kind of looking at life and having a good time and hanging out. First and foremost, I want you guys to know, as I always say, that this is a place for you. Of course, it's a place for me too because I like being here and I kind of facilitate. But I'm always happy to take comments in the chat while I'm live. I'm also happy to, what am I happy to do? I'm happy to share any thoughts you might have. If you want to contact me and give me some of your ideas you like for me to discuss here on the show, that's great too. But either way, if you just want to kick off your shoes and, put your feet up and, sit back and relax with a nice, with a nice lemonade, that cool, refreshing drink. Remember that one? That was one of Eddie Murphy's first stand-up bits. But anyway, as I always tend to get myself off topic. Yeah, you can kick your feet up and relax and just enjoy listening to me go on and on in random circles of nonsense and madness. But honestly, ladies and gentlemen, it's not random nonsense and madness because, as I always speak here, that our 3D paradigm is merely the dream, right? So in essence, there is no, there's only oneness in a sense, right? So everything is one, and I just feel that I have been taking a lot more of the thoughts of, the one, because I'm taking in so many thoughts, so it's too many for my brain. I should really try to I don't know. Maybe I should set up some boundaries so that I'm not taking in so much information because, I'm just kind of loosey-goosey. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm like loosey-goosey in the universe and just my brain just kind of floating. It goes up in here in this dimension, then it comes back down here in the real world for a little while. But generally, I'm somewhat in La La Land. But it's not a bad thing, It's just like, to me, it's really liberating because I don't ever feel confined by the propaganda of what we're told our lives are. So today is the 28th of June in the good year 2023. Hello once again and welcome. If you haven't already, please take the time to like, subscribe, share. It really helps the channel grow, and that's what we're trying to do here is grow a beautiful community. The title of today's program is The Delusion of Separation. And I found this to be, I've obviously kind of go along these types of lines of topics in general when I'm doing what I'm doing here. But I do find it interesting. I was thinking about this today and just kind of realized, it's just that idea that we're all separate, right? And everything in the world is out there, and we have to defend ourselves or against it in some type of way. If you really think about that little thought, right? That little space of belief from the inception that we're separate basically is the catalyst to create all of the chaos that we see in the world, right? I mean, why else? I mean, not just what's going on today, for example, what's going on Ukraine, Russia, and all that type of thing, but the wars, the religious wars that have been fought for how many generations and years, this group hates this group, and that group doesn't like this group, and this country doesn't like that country, and this state and doesn't like that state, or whatever the case may be. And I find it interesting because if everyone came from that space, a centered space of oneness, right? Or I want to say a centered space of oneness, a centered space of realizing that we are more than what we think we are, right? That are we in a human form now for this incarnation of our life? Yeah, right. We're here, but at the same time, we're not, right? It's like it's all one type of thing. I always talk about, really it's God, everything is God, essentially. Whatever word you want to use, the universe, the source, the energies, whatever. But, just for the lack of better, whatever, we'll just say, God is the focal point, right? The oneness, the source, all that. And, God's just kind of chilling, right? God's sitting up there in the universe, whatever you want to say. I always feel, but keep saying God. So I don't know why. I don't have a problem with saying God, but, for some reason, and that's another thing. Here I go off on a tangent already. That people were think about how angry kind of people get when you do refer to something as God, right? They it's really an interesting thing. Always want to push it away as is nonsense and such. And matter of fact, I remember even when I went through my divorce way back when. That I did go through a time where I started going to I found a group of people with this one church, and I'm not really a church person. I'm not a church person today, but I was for a brief time then, and started going to church, and quite honestly, it was good for me, even though I wasn't all in on the religion part of it, but I was all in on the community part of it, and I liked the way that they did their services. It was more of a discussion. I was raised like Roman Catholic, so talk about like the most, I don't know, the heaviest, most evil religion. I really kind of think, Catholicism ranks up there pretty good. But anyway, long story short, the way that they carried out their services was really nice. It made me feel inclusive and all. And I was trying to, go back to people in my life, more so the people on my ex's side, trying to say that, what I've been learning, or how I've felt different things in my heart, or whatever the case may be. And they're like, oh, don't give me that God nonsense, and I just think to myself, wow, looking back, like, wow, it's like, maybe you realize, and I'm not getting into the details of with me and my ex or any of that type of thing, but we were both, well, I'll put it this way, we were both jerks back then. We were both jerks. And, I realized that, and that's the important part, you got to realize your part in everything too. It's never someone else's fault. It's not someone out to get you, everything is a reflection. So, quite honestly, I still talk about it to this day. I have no ill will towards, my ex personally. A lot of people, they hate their exes and stuff, but honestly, that situation put me in a position to reflect on myself and really grow as a person. And if it wasn't for that, I would never be who I am today. Like, it really broke me out of the mold and made me realize a lot of the childhood trauma stuff I was holding on to, and how that was playing a role in my intimate relationships. So in my mind, I thank this person, but I don't think she would she probably wouldn't thank me too much, but that's okay. It is what it is. Everybody's got their own path and their own way of growth. And, as I was trying to, climb the ladder of consciousness, that group of people, I'll just put it that way, that I was with at that time, we're not looking to do the same. So, but anyway, so I'm go back to what I was kind of saying at first. God's up there, chilling out. It's oneness, knows it's all one, knows everything, and decides to, like, let's go have a little fun. Let's go have a little fun and go play. That's kind of like, and that's how I know it sounds crazy because people get upset because they take their lives so seriously. But this is what I'm talking about: the delusion of separation, right? We take the life so serious, but really, you are. I mean, literally, this is it. Like the energy of the universe, it's all one thing, right? So you could be in a separate body and looking at somebody across from you and you see another body, so you think, but really, I mean, you do in a way, right, in a sense of our 3D paradigm, but in essence, it's really not the truth. In essence, it's the same energy that you are, and it's like, God creating all these different ways of exploring and playing almost, and yeah, there's lessons to be learned. I'm sure there's deep levels, even when you want to take it to the level of people say, when they study their past lives, or just to say, like, past lives, for example, or, you talk about your soul, my soul, and all that type of thing. To me, that's great. And it's another level, right? Like, being a human, maybe you're an amoeba first, right? You start out as an amoeba, and then maybe you're lucky. Maybe you're an insect. Maybe become a dragonfly. That'd be cool, right? Then maybe become a frog, and then maybe you get to become a turtle, and then maybe you're a snake, and then maybe you become a mammal of some sort, and you work your way up the chain of physicality with your soul energy until I guess get into the human realm. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about there. What am I talking about? I don't know where I went with that, but I mean, what I'm saying is like it's a playground, this physical, and God is just out experiencing and creating. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. And then when you become a human, right? And then after that, you pass on. Maybe you've met all the criteria you need to meet in the human form, and you don't need to come back as a human life anymore. Now you're this ethereal soul, angel, energy, whatever, right? And that also, though, is a form of separation, because the only truth is the oneness, the total oneness. So you're always working your way up these levels back to the oneness. And I would say personally that everything that happens in this world, is really just a way to push people, each of us, back to non-attachment and oneness. And the more you see in the world that gets you riled up and scared, and the more that you do to try to fight and claw your way to get what you think you should do, really the harder it is. And so it's always trying to teach you to kind of let go and let life do what life is meant to do. I always like to talk about life as riding, the wave. I always say life is living through me. I'm not living my life. Life is already life, and it's expressing itself through me as this Pete Palma entity embodiment, right? So, and the separation, and this is what's so like how to bring it down a level into our current everyday life. I mean, just think about how much separation and fear there is in the world, and why people do what they do, why we accept, the constraints of what are placed upon us as far as what our life should be. Again, I was talking about the little petri dish of shit that they create, the little bubble world, the matrix, whatever, and they know, the powers that be, they know, and they keep us. That's why I was talking about with watching the news and everything that's going on. This crap, plain and simple, is all orchestrated. Everything. I mean, and it's all part of the same thing. It's not like what's going on here, in the economy is separate from what's going on geopolitically, which is separate from what's going on environmentally. I mean, the truth is, it's all part of the same thing. And and again, I take it back to what I said in the beginning. If we start from the start point of knowing, just a knowingness that we're more, if we can find the space to have the quiet inside, to be with our breath and to keep space, and realize that, we don't have to get all wrapped up and attached to whatever's going on. And I say this all the time. Of course, we're here living, and you have to live your life. Doesn't mean just sit outside all day, meditating, which is a great thing if you can, I guess. But I mean, you're gonna have to be engaged in life in some capacity, and whatever. Take care of your tasks, your chores, your bills, all that kind of stuff. But you do it all with a knowing that we're in a playground, essentially. It's like, if you look at it that way, it's really kind of fun. Even the pain, even when you go through pain and horrible whatever in your life, I mean, I don't know, losing a loved one, or whatever happens. I mean, just the things that really make us riled up. Even losing a job, right? And you're afraid of how am I going to pay my bills, and what's going to happen, and and you have to remember that it's not as concrete as that, and when something does happen that causes fear in your life, that's the time to take the space to reflect more. It's like, what are you going to do? Seriously, I think about this all the time when I go through things. What am I going to do? Am I going to sit here and just run through all these scenarios in my head of what could happen and what could happen, blah, blah, blah. And if I do that, those are the thoughts that I'm connecting to. That's the energy I'm putting forth into the universe, right? That's what I'm going to end up creating. So when I find something that really gets me riled up, and matter of fact, I had an incident today. I'm not going to talk about it, but I had an incident today about an individual that I know, and it riled me up right away, and I started getting agitated, and I started thinking to myself, okay, I know it has nothing to do with this person, right? what I mean, and yeah, I don't particularly care for this person's behaviors, but at the same time, it has nothing to do with anything. I don't associate with this person. It just happened to be something popped up about this person today, and it got me, thinking. And I just say like, so that person is just a reflection, right? Because we're all just reflections of one another. So what I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet, but I say to myself, what is it about that is making me feel this towards that person, like like that I'm I could feel the anger building, or what I would say, or and I'm saying that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. When that stuff happens in your life, that's the time to take the cue. That's the cue you're getting from the universe to say, okay, here's a lesson for you. What how are we going to grow today? So yeah, you can, things happen, you get mad, you vent, whatever the case may be, it's all good. But at the end of it, you have to always, I shouldn't say you have to always, that sounds too pushy, but I would invite you, I like to say, I would invite you to try to find space, and look at that situation, say, man, this thing really has me agitated. So what is it about this situation? What is it about me? Because the truth is, when we point fingers at others and point out things on them that we think they're doing wrong or whatever, that's really us, right? Because you're really talking about yourself. So, and I have found this before, when here's another good example. This woman I used to work with in my old job before I moved down here, I could tell she was nice. She was a little older, but she was nice, but she was also like, just her emotionally, I can tell she was insecure and really seeking attention all the time. And she was a little, I don't want to say intrusive, like not in a bad way. She didn't mean it in a bad way, but she always had to be in the center of things and do. And it would always make me so aggravated. And then I kept thinking about it all the time. I said, well, why am I so agitated with this person's way? And, what does that say to me about me and what I do? And then I started thinking about, at one point, I moved past some of that level of thinking that she was doing, but I realized I did do a lot of that same type of stuff. Like, I was always trying to be with everybody, to be friends, or to, be a little more, I don't say intrusive, but yeah, obnoxious in certain ways, loud in certain ways. I mean, I still am in certain ways, but I'm not. Like, I'm right at now, like I've learned so much about myself over the years of my, what generated some of my behaviors, and, what my behaviors brought to me. And, I'm really mindful of it now because of exactly what I'm saying. The delusion of separation is that there is no separation. And I really realize that, I forget about me. I'm like, forget about Pete. Pete is just, it's not about what Pete wants. It's not about what Pete thinks. It's about, focusing and being in tune with the universe and the oneness, So I've been able, thank God, and I still have work to do. We always have work to do. That's why we're here on this journey. And I guess we don't pass on until our particular tasks are, complete, So even if we seem to go too soon, if something happens, but it means it was time. So, and I've been able to, it's just such an amazing difference as I've, aged a bit and gone through this scenarios and situations in my life, how I can relate to people on such a more, even keel level. I'm never, mad at anybody really, or, I'm not looking to, some people I might not want to talk to as much. I'm kind of whatever, but it's not even anything bad. It's just like, I just kind of just want to be nice to people and, create an environment where they don't feel anybody's, like I'm never taking advantage of anybody or, being intrusive on their business or their lives. I don't know. I mean, I'm real particular about that. It's like always remembering to not let my ego push forth of what I think I should see in others of how they reflect, back to me. So, or whatever they're showing me, like, oh, they didn't shake my hand when I said hello or something, right? And I would get you, what kind of person's this? All that kind of stuff. Oh, they didn't hold the door open when they were walking out. They let it close in my face or something. We take it personal. That's a bad person. They did that to me, So, and that again goes everything back to the delusion of separation, because there is no separation. We're all, one people. We're all one energy, we're all here to learn. And I really look forward, and I say this all the time, I definitely think our world is changing and that we're moving in that direction. But it's going to take all of us, and we have to break free of the fear, because the fear is what causes the chaos, and that's what's going on now. And the powers that be are still trying to hold on to this stranglehold of keeping us in this socioeconomic slavery as they have, and they want total control over everything we do and what we buy and where we go and all that. And until we can let go of the products that they're selling us and the bullshit that they're telling us, until we can get past all that and make choices outside of the system, and just say we're not participating. I really think it's a simple thing. I know it's not in a way because it's just not meant to be like that. But in my mind, it's pretty simple. We just break free and say, I'm not doing it. It's pretty simple. I'm not doing it. So then we create the new space. And imagine how beautiful things could be as we grow into this type of paradigm and thought process where, everyone is encouraging each other. It doesn't have to be all wussy, oh, everything's okay, you're a good person, I love you. I mean, it doesn't have to be over the top. But, I don't think it should be over the top. I think it should be, I don't want to say strict, but it should be matter of fact in a sense. Okay, here we're here. You have a responsibility as the entity that you are to be responsible for your emotions, to be responsible for your physical health, to be responsible for your connection to source, your spirituality, whatever the case may be with that. So and that's how it should be. It should be giving each other space to live the journey that we're here to live, but also guiding people to be their best selves. I don't know. I say it all the time. I mean, if everyone was just encouraged to do the things that came naturally to them and to be their best selves, we don't need all this crazy way of society. Everybody can have everything. People would all use their skills and their ways to build the community, and it wouldn't be about who got more than who or who's owed this or and it's too competitive again. And I'm not, I don't want to make it because I'm ready to say capitalism because we're so competitive, but all that stuff does create separation, right? I'm starting a business and you're starting a business. My business got to be better than your business. I'm going to do more business than your business, and it all that turns into a fight, even with sports, I'm a fan, I'm an Eagles fan, you're a Cowboys fan, or I'm this fan, that fan, and it's all these just multiple levels of separation. And then here's another thing I've said multiple times of how they do it over and over again. They keep breaking it down, right? I'm saying that's why I always speak that I feel badly for, this whole, LGBTQ, LMNOPQRST actually community. I feel bad because because they do just that. You have it was gay, and then gay turns into LGBTQ. Then they add the trans. They even separate it within their community. Is what I'm saying. And it's not them, the people that are it. I'm just trying to say that's how society, these powers that be, that's what they do. They're looking to create multiple levels of separation. So it's not just this. Now it's the trans, now it's the gay, or now it's the black, and now it's the white, or then it's the Jew, and then it's the Muslim, and then it's the this, or then it's the that, and they just keep breaking it down. More separation, and ultimately that keeps leading us away from our center, from the oneness, and all that type of stuff. So I don't know. That's what I'm talking about here today, ladies and gentlemen, on Operation Status Quo, the delusion of separation. Because take this as my final thought here today. Thank God. Let me give a round of applause. Thank God. A final thought. Hey guys, he's almost done. God, Jesus, he's almost done. Hey-o. Geez, I did that. Now I think I forgot my final thought. Yeah, no, seriously. I was going to say, just the takeaway from this is just to try the best you can, and it doesn't have to be all at once, little by little. Find that space to be with your breath, to be in silence, and just talk to the universe, talk to God, and you'll see that the information comes through. And it's really amazing how life, and I'll say this too as a final thing, I noticed since the more I've gotten this way over the years in my life, how much more things just flow. I mean, before it was a struggle more so. I'd worry about things, or I got to fix this and I got to fix that, and I don't have to fix anything. I just kind of do. If something happens, okay, it happened, and you move on to the next thing, and or something I have to tend to, I do. But I never really get out of control. I just I just look at everything's happening the way it should, and I'm flowing with life and letting God bring what is meant to be for me to live out the purpose intended for my creation. So and if we can just take that time to realize that there really is no separation, start that as your basis point. That as ground zero, there is no separation. Everything in the world, all this is going on. We can turn it around like that. I mean, it really is a matter of a belief system and thoughts, because ultimately there is no physical reality. It really is just a manifestation of energies anyway. So what you put out is what you're going to get back. So if you're afraid and you think fear, you're going to get fear. On the other side, you think love, you connect to oneness, and you're going to attract that type of lifestyle. So remember, there's no separation. We're all one. So even if you're out there and you're thinking this guy is a real kookadoo jerk and I don't like him, that's fine. But just remember, we're all one. So I am you. I am you too. And you are me. Imagine me and you. I do. I'll think about you day and night. It's only right. Heyo! That was the Turtles, and I talked about Turtles earlier in the program. You see how the synchronicities and the synergy of how everything just kind of works out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time to be with me here today on Operation Status Quo. Of course, we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. Please take the time to like, subscribe, share, send this out to your family, your friends, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I am Pete Palma. As always, I thank you for your time so much. I love each and every one of you individually as well as a group. And until tomorrow, have a great evening or morning or whenever it is that you're watching this. God bless you. And until then, Operation Status Quo disengaged.